So let's go ahead. Next thing would be translations. Let's go to author. So we have this one translation here. Let's check where the output for that is. That's system. That's a system component. And we need to save all of this in the React context. Yes. Let's do this. So, we have the router here, but we are not using it. Let me quickly check what this is. Not being used. Then let's remove this. So, what's going on here? Let's create a context first. I did that just in my other project. Let me check what I did there. I will copy this over. So there we go. So we don't want all of this. What we want is to have a translations object here. And the default should be an object. So, and we have a component for that. Here. So, but this is only being used, I guess that's used in a page. Yes. Here. So that's a workaround. But the easiest way to get translations into the app for now. I think that could be fixed later, as we have no, that's actually, we don't need this. So let's create a new component. No. How can we do that? Yeah, I know now. So like this, and what we want is so like this. And let's use this translations component directly. So like this. Yeah, that's not working. I think we need to that's not necessary here. Let's have another check. I just want to check what this actually is. So let's quickly make an output for that. So nice formatted output. Yeah, we need to export this to see something. So what do we get here? Okay, we need to pass this. Let's start another block. We can remove the other one later. So system and let's wrap this in so what we want are the system nodes, and we want the data to be passed, and we need to close this here and this too. So, and we need to close the empty tag and the whole thing. So auto formatting, everything seems to be fine. So, and we need to check if we have data translations. So, and if we have this, if we don't have this, we return always something like that. And else we were returning the translations. Let's make a new component. Translations. No, we cannot do that. I would like to rename that. That's translations author debug. Let's do this manually. Okay, so we also need to report, yeah, like this, and we need to map this component within the Magnolia config. So like this, and we don't want to import this anymore, because this is only the output for the author. So, and now we will have a translations component which will enhance or pass the data to the context. So, and this is something we want to render. In case of so like this. Yes. Duplicated, yeah. So this component is called translations then. And this, in this case, should render nothing. So, but instead, I will create a use effect that listens to translations and passes data to a newly created. Oh, I have to check on the other project quickly. So how do we use this? In the file tree? No. In the file tree? No. App. Use ref? No. Where do we use this? Okay, we need to wrap this inside the global. Do we really want this? No, let's check. We have the page. Yeah, we can do that here, I guess. So, and the global context. So we need to check that in 1 out, 2 out, utils. Yeah. That makes no sense. I think so. This should stay as it is. And maybe let's rename this to translation context. Translations context. Yes. And I also want to I'm not sure if this will work. Then we don't need the use effect and we will provide a value here. Destructuring the translations. Like this. So, and we need to import the translations context. Translations. The reason why it's not being imported is that we use the JS file here, and this is what we should actually do. So now let's try. There we go. So good. What's going on here? That's not longer necessary. Oh, it is. It is. What's the problem here? Ah. That's... yeah. Makes sense. So also... no, we don't need to do that. So, and we want the metadata. No, this actually don't need any metadata. We can safely remove this from the required props. Only the rendered output needs that. So at least it is not crashing anymore. Now let's check. Good. So I think in the code component we need translations. Use context hook, and we want our translations context. Is this correct? Yeah. Okay. So, but let's call this translations context. And I want to know what we get here. So let's check this. So somehow the editor collapsed. That's weird. Because now I'm already started task. Yeah, here we have it. So I don't need this. So let's export this again. Good. The question is if we... there we have translations, object, but nothing inside of it. So that means that we need to have it wrapped somewhere else. So the context must be a wrapper around something on a higher level. The question is, how do I get the translations then? Then this wouldn't be possible. Then we need to switch back to what we had before. and need to wrap the page with it or the app. I think it's okay if we have it here. We can remove this later. So value translations will be the default, but it needs to be wrapped inside of it. So that's a child of the page. Okay. So, and inside of the translations component, we also make this available. We use a use effect here. So translations would be the object that would trigger the change. So let's lock the translations for now that we see if they are really there. Translations, and that locks translations. There it is. So we should iterate over all the nodes. So I think we can map this. We need to wrap over all the nodes. So, and let's call it also item key here. So this could be translation. It is 1. So, and no, this way we get an array. That's not what I want. That's the string. So now we have a translation here. How does it look like? So we want it to be an object, and this could be type with key string, and this could be any. Actually, let's do it like that. Let's define a type here. Translation object equals key string, or no, or it's itself a translation object. So that makes sense, maybe. So, and what we do here is to get the translation key and the translation. I don't like this. Let's call this translation data. So, and in the end we should have a object containing our translations if we export it. So let's check. That's our translation. All right. So yet now we need to get this into the translation context, and then if we got this, we can use this wherever we want. Or let's say everything in between here. So I need to check the documentation again. I don't remember. So use context. There should be somewhere dynamic context. Yeah, there. Dynamic context. Oh, like this. Consumer, no, I don't want a consumer. I want to update the context. Not possible, is it? Isn't this what the context is for? Every context object comes with a provider React component that allows consuming components to subscribe to context changes. Where is that the value prop to be passed to consuming? How do I update context? That couldn't be so hard. Shouldn't this be part of the dynamic context? So, what do we have here? For example, in the code below, we manually threads with theme prop in order to style the button component. Awesome. Good for the button component. Create context light. Context is primarily used when some data needs to be accessible by many components in different nesting levels. Applied. That's exactly the use case I have. If you only want to avoid passing some props through many levels, component composition is often a simpler solution than context. For example, consider a page component that passes the user and avatar size props several levels down so that deeply nested links and avatar components can read it. No, that's not my use case. I don't want to end up to implement a store or something just for that case. That I really don't get this consumer part. I guess I know what. Maybe I got this wrong here, and that's not necessary at all. Let me check this. So of type translation object. Now we have here like so we don't need this, and we want only to set the translation and pass it after we have our object here. So like this, and we don't want to mirror this variable here. I don't know why it is not even hesitating. Is it not the same? It's actually the same. So translation. Temp object. So, and we passing it like this. Now let's see if this works. So do we have, so now we don't have a lock anymore somewhere, or do we? Oh, we have one here. Let me copy this. I did the export already, I guess. So then let's check this. So empty, empty. No, that still is not what we want here. Using the context. I have the gut feeling that that will only work if we do this, exactly this, from here. And that is what I will do now. So we need to pass the translations here. I don't know if... yeah. So then we won't need this hacky component. So we will look for systems and the translation object. Let's create this here. So, and within system we will have this translations, if I'm not mistaken. So like this. Yeah, that will be necessary to have this exactly here. So the translations object is what we hand over to this. And oh, I see. Okay. Let's check the systems object again. Yeah, no. We need to map that's not just... So we need to go over this. Iterate over the systems object that will actually I will never have another thing like so. Let's do it like that. Don't watch it, that's not best practice. So actually you should iterate over the nodes, but as far as I know, I will only have this one system component in the app and not another. So that should do the trick. So we need to iterate over the nodes, system translations nodes. Okay, yeah, let's try this. So where is it? So crash or done. Okay, drums. Yeah, we have our translation. So, but is this... So we have translations. We don't even need these translations. Isn't it translations? Why is this? Is this really? Let me check that. I'm not sure. One export to Magnolia, and then we are more clever than before. So how does it look like? There's really a translations inside of it. How does that? Where does this come from? We don't need this here anymore. So bye bye. Best code is code you don't have. So this is also something to throw away. Yeah, exporting. There we go. So we have the translations inside of it. So we have the translation object. How does that work? We have the use context. We yeah, sure. That has to be so like this. But actually, we can shorten this up. That makes no sense if this is really just that context. We only want it to be an object. So that's the reason. Time to wrap up today, I guess. So let's check how this looks now. Not what I wanted. No, I don't know where this comes from. I think that's from the provider. Because this, yeah, this still includes this. And no longer necessary. Looks even better. No, not on this side, on this side. Yeah, that's it. Alrighty. So, looks good to me. So now I need to check. What is this? Stop it. Something is weird. So let's check the dialog of the code component. This is where I want to try out the translation first. So let's check the dialog, components. That's in content. Good, we have a field. Let's take it as it is. Where does that front end come from? I don't know. Let's check this. Yeah, we should shorten this up. This is too long. I don't know why I need this front end. I don't need this. And I also don't need the value. Should be just. So let's check this. Let's replace this. So like this. And then we will use the regex. Do I need to escape here in editor? Yes, I need to. So that's dot plus, but only until a point is appearing, and then we have value, and we are going to replace this, come on, with, we need to make this a group here. So, and we are going to replace this with dot $1. Let's check this. What? Yeah. Awesome. Worked. Oh, we have 2 times JavaScript. Okay. Shouldn't this be JSX? I would say so. So then let's go back. Actually, I need something like this here. Oops, this is too small. And this needs to go to the right side. And we don't need this for now. So then let's add some translations. Let's get started with what I'm using right now here. I think it's JavaScript. So in English it's JavaScript, and in German that's actually the same. Then we don't need to translate it. Question is if I edit this component, if the change is being applied. I think not. It isn't. So that means that I need to delete this component. I hope I have this stuff still in my clipboard. So let's add an item. Language should be JavaScript, code should be this. I have it. Phew. There we go. So then I can end the side-by-side view. So, and I want to have this one as well ended. And in the component we need to use the translation and actually we need to check. Actually I should make a function for that, a helper function. So let's do this. So export default function translate this gets the key string and the translation object. Which is of type translation object, which is not yet exported. So I have an idea. I will put this here and export this type so that we can import this here. That makes sense. So, okay, so if translation object key return translation object, yeah, actually you can write a shortcut for that. So conditional or we return the key and we don't need this, so easy as pie. So then let's pass in the language title and the translation context. No. Then we want to have this as a string. Not that we have ensured that, but should be. So let's see if this works. Yeah, there it is. Awesome, now I have translations.